Hi everyone, me and my group are going to share about tree cluster and presentation is about basic engineering. So me, I am the group leader, which is my name is Ryan Remulihan, and also there is Aldo Pero Dening. We also have Fendi, Anik, and last but not least, Ralph Puller. So for the first presenter will be Aldo.
So I will be presenting about cluster one, which is compound machine. So what is compound machine? A little introduction of a compound machine. It's a compound machine is a process where it consists of two or more simple machines operating in tandem to a given task. It is a very useful and important task lah for this for our daily life. However, by employing the concept of mechanical advantage and combining several components, these machines are intended to simplify some work lah, such as like, for example, industries, engineering, manufacturing, building, and everyday use. Compound machines are widely used. Hence, compound machine is based on the notion by combining several simple machines, its efficiency can be increased overall. So as you can see here, the example of compound machine that I use is wheelbarrow, pressure sharpener, crane, bulldozer, clippers, escalators, like we can see, bicycle. So I will presenting one of compound machine, like how it works, something like that. So which is I take bicycle. As you can see, firstly bicycle have wheel and axle. Wheel and axle system of the bicycle is where a rider use the pedals, which are exercised to the crankshaft known as the axle. The wheels, the ability to rotate gives the bicycle its ability to go forward. Like we can see, the bicycle is always without wheels. The bicycle cannot go forward. So it is important that bicycle have the wheels and axle. The next, which is the levers. The levers work when the riders apply force to the pedals. The levers rotate, converting the riders input force into rotational motion. So this motion is transferred through the chain to the rear wheel, propelling the bicycle to move forward. It is really important. Next, which is gear and chain. The gears are located on the rear wheel, which is known as the cassette, and the pedal crank, which is known as the chain ring. Without this chain ring, the bicycle cannot move forward. Ah, for information, this chain, chain ring is a capability that makes our bicycle move forward. Same goes to motorcycle. Without the chain ring, the ability to the motorcycle cannot go forward. It did not have chain ring. So by shifting gears, the rider can vary the mechanical advantage and adjust the effort required to pedal. Information of the use of gear. The gear itself can be able to adjust our speed. For example, like a motorcycle. I take motorcycle, have gear one, gear two, gear three. So by this gear one, gear two, gear three, it is really important to make how the speed of the motorcycle. For example, if you want to go slow, we can use gear one, and then if you want to go like medium speed, you can go to gear two. For the next speed, you can give gear 3, gear 4. It's followed by the motorcycle. Some motorcycle have like gear 6, something like that. So yeah. So hence the chains transfer the rotational motion from the pedals to the rear wheel, which is the last compound machine is the brakes. So a cable or hydraulic systems applies the brake when the rider pushes on the lever, which causes friction that slows the wheel speed. However, brakes, as we can see, brake is really important to make our vehicles slow. Brake is really important because why? If without brake, our vehicle cannot like slowly and stop. So which means without brake, the capability of accident is really high. That's why brake are really important. So continue to the topic. Friction slows or stops the moving bicycle by converting its kinetic energy into thermal energy. So that's it by my introduction and content about compound machine. I will pass the conclusion to the next person, which is Ryan, to the conclusion of compound machine.
Alright, as we can see that compound machine has a lot of benefits for transforming our world, and it helps us to accomplish a lot of tasks, and also once and others even impossible. By combining the forces, speed, and advantages of simple machine, compound machine have revolution transportation and manufacturing, and also for our daily life. From the humble bicycle to the intricate machinery in modern industries, compound machine continue to shape our lives and push the boundaries of human achievements. So, we must continue to explore and innovate in the field of future, enhance efficiency and productivity, and also overall quality of life. Okay, so next I'm going to be next presenter, which is Fendi.
Everyone can hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Now I'm presentation the cluster 2 is about the heat. Heat is a process transfer terminal energy from the one physical system to another physical system or from the era of physical system to another. For the example, this case, maybe a cup of coffee or another physical object or substance, including the energy such as compared of the sunlight. Heat also from the energy transferred with the two separate object different temperature come into contact. For example, Jack A, which has high temperature, will transfer heat to object B with low temperature. There are several heat transfer processes. There are three types of mode, namely is condensation, condensation, and radiation. Next, condensation. Condensation is a process transfer heat, electrical energy, dot a material or between the objects that are in direct contact with the other. Next, condensation. Condensation is a mode of heat transfer towards the movement of liquid. Each a gas, liquid, invert the transfer of the heat energy by the equal movement of the liquid itself. Convert can be each neutral or fire free convert for the conversion. Radiation. Radiation is a made of the heat temperature that occurs that electromagnetic wave, unlike conduction and light radiation, those adequate medium or direct contact between the object to the trapped heat. It can offer the wisdom of the temperature made. I to the another terms to Ryan.
Alright, as we can see that the heat is very vital form of energy. They can transfer through three types, which is first conduction, then convection, and last but not least, radiation. So it has a variety of application in every fields and plays a crucial role in our daily lives. However, it is also essential to manage and control heat properly to prevent harm and mitigate the negative effects of the excessive heat. Pass to Prof. Fuller.
All right, it's my part now, which is cluster 3. I chose welding safety. Welding involves various part of joining parts, mainly metal parts. And welding process includes source of heat such as electric arc, a flame, pressure, or friction. And the most of the industry would prefer source of heat are electric arc. That's the most common company would use. And welder can be very hazardous if there is a worker that is unaware of its dangerous nature, because workers that lean on the metals beside the welding by welders can cause a severe injury or even death if workers are unaware. For example, like there's a workers welding, there's a welders welding the metal, and there's a workers like leaning towards the metal that he's welding, and that cause some sort of process of conductions where the electric will flow through human and to the ground. Therefore, the human would shock, can burn the human severely, and can injure the human severely or even lead to death. And to initiate a welding process, there's a 3 steps to begin with. First of all, electrical physical gap between the arc at the end of the electrode and the base metal. So basically, a metal part that's present in the welding tools. There's an electrode, which is some sort of metal tube that produce the electrical to burn the metals. And second is shielding, not the shielding that PPE like we use like they typically would use the helmet. No, this shielding would present in some of the welding tools, where they would produce some sort of gas to incinerate the poison fume, so that the workers or the welders wouldn't inhale the poison fume. And the third is filler material. Filler material is a basic metal part, and basically what it does is it joins 2 pieces. Okay, next I'm going to move on to content. So in content, in first content is exposure to fumes and gases. So when welders weld, there's an invisible gases present during the welding. And the most common are, well, nickel oxides and carbon monoxides and chromium, the metals dust. But I decided to share a few gases like ozone, nitro oxides, chromiums, and nickel oxides and carbon monoxides, which is harmful to human respiratory. And this would result in decreasing the level of respiratory, where it will damages the tissue of our bronchioles down to the deepest cells in our lungs. So my most effective ways, probably not the ways most effective, but still effective in lowering the risk of getting the fume into your lung, is by using LEAF, also known as local exhaust ventilations. As you can see in the picture here, there's a hood air cleaner, and duct, fans, and stacks. Next. So, as a welder, a person who welds, they need to be aware of their PPE and RPE. PPE stands for personal protective equipment, and RPE stands for respiratory protective equipment. And each of these PPE and RPE provides a safe features, a safe, let's say a safe haven to other workers so that they don't get poison gases into their lungs. And there's an example for PPE, such as long sleeve shirts, long pants with no cuffs, welding helmets or goggles, gloves and boots and others. And as you can see in the picture here, there's a presence of multiple PPE, like the helmets, the glove, and the shoes, and etc. So next content is fire and health safety precautions. So during welding, welding can be hazardous, as we all may know, because welding involves a high voltage of electricity and it will burn the metal. So therefore, they must provide the fire watcher. So what does fire watcher do? They basically will be on besides or further a few meters away from the welders, taking care of the welders in case of any fire. Their jobs is to extinguish any presence of heat, any presence of fires. And example here are fire extinguisher and fire carpets can help prevent from fire spreading. Next. Next is probably one of the most important also, proper checking and maintenance of electrical nodes. Workers, welders should be aware of their tools before initiate any welding. So it is important for the employer to always be aware of their equipment. Like for example, their electro knots, electro arc between the knots should not be damaged. If there's any damage, should replace, and etc. So next is workers should participate in any training, communications, housekeeping informations provided by the employers. So the job of employers is to provide training to welders, because welders that not inexperienced welders, but they might forget on how to act on their work. So therefore, the job of an employer is to provide training, communications, and housekeeping for the welders. So employers should note down any relevant informations, like for example, doing risk assessments and control measures. So in case of any not unnecessary, unwanting situation that's report from welders, employers should take note and should be aware. Employer ensure all welders are competent. As an employer, as a higher table of the company, employers should be aware of all the workers. Like for example, welders should be more competent and adequate in their doing their jobs, so that don't involve any death or any severe injuries. So that is all for my content. We're moving on to conclusion.
Thank you. Thank you to my friends. I will explain about conclusion. So, as provide medication that might fail has indicated that the welding process is a very dangerous process because workers to experience extreme pain and can youth today. So therefore, it is very important for us to emphasize on the well-being process. For examples, each company should provide PPE and RPE for workers to make the well-being process easy, and also provide a fire extinguisher to be prepared in case of a fire. And of course, workers must have sufficient knowledge and skill in carrying out the welding process. It is purpose to reduce the risk for workers who carry out the welding process due to containing high voltage, because welding contains a very high voltage and that causes death to workers, and also the company has to experience loss and shortage of workers. Therefore, each company should provide preventive measures, and safety officer should always monitor the situation from time to time to identify the potential hazard and immediately rally to guarantee occupational safety and health.
Thank you for all of us presenting, and I hope that anyone who watch our YouTube, if anyone would watch, will learn something new. So yeah, bye.